sentence. Right? Before the damn period there, that's not poem. Poems have stanzas. Poems rhyme. The hell is this? Right? But you're telling this is the new American poem. Go.
Is this his first poem that was famous or not?
First when it was famous, yes.
So
After that, he was like I said, this might be the most anthologized poem of the 20th century.
I feel like you just have to, it has to get into like, you just have to get lucky and it has to get in the right person's hands. Like,
Well,
if anyone else wrote that, like if one of us wrote that and no one knew it, like, that would be an F.
You know, it's funny, and I'll go back later. If you went to your garage tonight and just splashed paint on a canvas, nobody would want it. But if someone said Jackson Pollock splashed that paint, give me 20 million. And I think there's something ludicrous and absurd about this.
I know an artist, like from my art class last year, he put 2 basketballs in a fish tank and it sold for $20 million.
Oh, you learned about that in art. I thought you were like someone in the class.
That's what I thought.
No. I learned about it. No, but he was already famous, but then he just, like, you can just do whatever you want and make money.
I remember the guy a couple years ago peed, you know, he peed in the jar,
Yeah.
and he put a crucifix in it.
Yeah.
And that was his that was in the Brooklyn Museum of Art for like 6 months. It was the most visited object. People stood there and stared at it and wondered what it meant. And I'm thinking there's something wrong with people. He had another picture of the Virgin Mary. He has a problem with religion.
Yeah, I think I saw about.
He had another problem. Okay, he had a picture of the Virgin Mary, like maybe that big, and it was like the Virgin Mary. You've seen her, right? Dressed in blue, right? He went to Africa and got like elephant shit, and then he smeared it all over the picture of the Virgin Mary. And that was like the second most visited piece of art in the Brooklyn Museum of Art that year. And besides smell, right? But I mean, this is what we have today, right?
I feel like it has to be so dumb.
You know what's funny you said that? Because I think this began with this. You know what I mean? If this is 1922, and we used to have Shakespearean sonnets, meaning poetry, then we went to Walt Whitman with 28 young men on the beach. Now we go to this. Pretty soon, it's going to be what? You're going to burp, and someone's going to go.
Wait, we already do that.
If you can burp in rhythm, they're going to like celebrate you as the greatest poet. Go.
Sometimes when it's displayed as art, it's such as that, especially when it's famous, doesn't only define the poem, but it defines the people.
Oh, I think this defines.
Ooh, Sean Mary. Oh my God.
I agree with you. I think it defines a lot of things, not the least of which is the culture that's staring at it. Can you imagine saying to your girlfriend, I want to go to the art gallery today, and you're holding hands. She goes, that's good, what do you want to see? Oh, somebody got elephant shit for Mary. And I go, really? What? Dear God. I mean, at that point, take a walk in the park and play with the damn dog.
I like that.
All right. Let me go through this poem, because you guys explain it to me. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. All right. Tell me first of all, where is the poet? Where is the poet in it, and where's the picture? Because they're separate. Go.
Well, the picture would be the red wheelbarrow and white chickens part.
The picture is from here down. This part is the poet. He says, so much depends upon. That's the poet telling you what? This is just a picture. That's it. So in this poem, I told you, mainly objective. That's the only subjective part of this poem. Whatever this picture represents, he believes what about it?
So much depends on it.
That a lot depends upon it. That's it. That's his contribution to this poem. The rest of it is just what? The object. It's like me saying to the stick, so much depends upon the stick.
You're talking to yourself.
Okay, well, let's see what he's doing. So he gives us this little thing. Here's what I got. I got a red wheelbarrow. I know that it's glazed with rainwater. And I know that it's sitting there beside white chickens. What do I do with that? Well, let's start with the first thing we got. Rather than start that here, let's start up top, get nowhere else to go. The first thing I have is a wheelbarrow. You've seen them. All right. It's that thing like this. You agree? What are they made for? Why do people make wheelbarrows? Go.
Carry dirt.
They carry shit, right? They work for us. If this wheelbarrow is sitting there beside chickens, what's probably in it? Go.
Eggs?
Feed?
What'd you say?
Eggs?
They probably wouldn't carry eggs in a wheelbarrow. They would break. What would you carry in a wheelbarrow?
Hey. Or like.
The food.
Yeah.
Okay, meaning, okay, my point is this, and we don't, by the way, we don't even know because he didn't tell us, maybe he couldn't see inside of it. Here's what I got. All I know is I got a wheelbarrow starting out with. The only thing I have to take that anywhere is the color of it.
The red.
What do I do with red anything? As a human being, when the color red comes into my life, what do I think of it?
Bad.
It's what?
Bad. Like
It's
danger.
Who said blood?
Blood.
It's blood. It's blood. Okay, meaning the first thing is blood. So now, I have something. It's made to do work. That's why it's not made to look pretty. It's not made to what? To be tossed around. Not made to be caught with. It's made to do work. I have something. It's a machine. You agree? Made out of steel. But in this case, I have this steel machine, but I've injected it with what? Blood. What have I just done to the machine? I Frankensteined it. Stay with me.
What does that mean? What do you mean by
Frankenstein, when you take a dead body and make it come to life. I've taken an inanimate object, and by making it red, and we all agree that as a human being, the color red, before anything else, is the color of my blood. It may mean something else, but at the very least, it's blood. Do you agree? I've taken this thing that works. That's what it's made for. And I've injected it with blood. Okay, so now I've got an inanimate object that I just made animate. Fine. It's a red wheelbarrow animate. Here's the problem. Now hold on. My next sense of the picture is that it's what? Now, glazed with rainwater does not mean soaking wet. It means splashed. Okay, now I've got this red thing that's alive with splashes of water on it. Now what do I do with the rainwater splashes? It's something's red with splashes on it.
Tears.
Water, splashes of water on the floor. Sweat. Now take the word red. I've made something who's working basically red. What do you do? If I'm working out in the field and you look at me and I'm all red, I'm probably not just working, I'm overworking. Now,
He said very.
I'm overworking. And now that I'm overworking, I'm sweating. So I've got this wheelbarrow out there. I've made it come alive. And I'm working the shit out of it. How do I know? Because the wheelbarrow is red in the face and it's sweating. Now tell me something. Should the wheelbarrow be wet? No, it should be in the barn. Somebody was sloppy with the wheelbarrow. Somebody left it out in the rain. If you keep leaving it out in the rain, what's going to happen to the wheelbarrow?
Rust.
It's going to rust and be useless. You're going to kill it. I have a red wheelbarrow. I've taken this inanimate object that was built just to do work. I've injected it with blood. The blood of what? The blood of putting food in it, which does what for the chickens? Feeds them. It keeps it up. Okay. The red wheelbarrow is blood. Now, I'm overworking it. It's getting red in the face. It's sweating. And to make matters worse, I'm mistreating it by leaving it out in the rain. It is. It's working its ass off. Okay, now, and the thing is, it's been left out in the rain. It's done its work. It's sweating, right? Its heart, probably its heart's pounding. In the meantime, it's sitting beside the white chickens. What's the difference with what's probably in the wheelbarrow? The food. Can the chickens get to it? No. Why are they white? Because they're now at this point from hunger, they're getting pale. Just like we injected red into the inanimate object, now we've withdrawn the blood from the animate object. I know. Go.
Wait, so it sounds like they're gonna kill the chicken.
No, what's happening is, in this situation we find ourselves in 20th century America, he finds that we're starting to give life to a lot of things that probably, in other words, shouldn't have life. And we're giving things life, and we're making them so important. Well, stay with me for 1 second. The chickens that are next to this wheelbarrow, they're already pale from lack of food because they can't get to it. If this wheelbarrow, but they're still living, you agree? If this wheelbarrow being left out in the rain, we'll be able to carry the food at all. And what'll happen to these chickens? They're going to be dead. Right now they're only pale. Right now they only need food. They need blood. Okay. There's going to come a point. So what does depend? Okay, ready? What do chickens give the world? What's the at Easter? What do they give the world?
Eggs.
Eggs. What do eggs always represent in any culture?
Life.
Life.
wheelbarrows associated with
What depends on the red wheelbarrow? And the answer is
life?
life. What's he talking about? We take the things in our life and we give them too much power. We almost inject them with a humanity, our cell phones, our airplanes. We inject them with so much power over us, and then we treat them like shit. We run our airplanes into the ground, we run our cars into the ground, we run our computers into the ground, you run your cell phones into the ground, you drop it, you kick it, you throw it. And you keep expecting it to work. Right now, your cell phones, your airplanes, your trucks, everything right now that you've injected with blood because it does the work that you need to do is sweating, and it's about this close to having a heart attack. And when that thing finally dies, it's not so much that dies. Who's going to die in the end? You are. Be careful what you make. Be careful what you become a slave to. You don't own your cell phone.
Your cell phone.
Your cell phone owns you. Go.
What?
I feel like you're saying if we keep going down this path, that like we're gonna our actual like America is gonna go down.
We're going to kill ourselves.
But if right now there's still time to like fix it, like
Okay, I think he wrote this poem in the 1920s. This guy was raised in a time when you would have taken like a horse and carriage to church on Sunday. Now in 1923, he just got done what? He watched airplanes fly over France and drop their loads of bombs. He watched machine guns gun down 40 million men. What did he experience? He experienced a rise in this technological age. And I think he knew that, what do I think he knew about people? Once I turn you on to technology, are you ever going to go back to the horse? Nobody is. You're not going back to the rotary phone. You're not going back to a propeller airplane. You're not going back to a Ford without power. Right now, all we know as human nature is, if it's technological, it must be better. And I think he's telling you what? Be careful what you make. Be careful how you treat it. And right, because one of these days you keep overworking the shit you make, it's going to die. And when it dies, you die. Go.
But how does this relate to this whole letting things talk about themselves if it's all like scattered with figures, like the whole image?
Yeah, because he didn't give you any, in other words, all he did, don't forget, all he said was, so much depends on, bam!
And we take all
Yes,
that.
in other words, it's the image that told the poetry. The image, the only time he injected was, he wasn't so shy to say something like, I think a whole lot depends on this. It's the picture that told the story. Now, when you talk to me about how this fits into your essay, all right, I told you 20th century poetry is dark, violent, and complex. Which word do you focus on with this poem? Complex. Right, and I would go darkness second, and it's really not very violent,
No.
but there's a darkness here. You agree? And what? Well, okay. There might be an implied violence at the end, but basically it's complex. I don't think he understands the world he sees, and that's the poem that comes out. Go.
Won't we die if we don't depend on
Won't we die if we don't depend on this stuff? Give me an example, like what?
like,
Your house is wrong.
yeah, like if we didn't have phones, like if someone's dying, you can't contact somebody.
Don't get so specific. Wait a minute. Don't get so specific where you put yourself like, I'm on the side of the road and I cut my leg off. If I can't get a hold of like Marks, I'm going to lose my other leg. I get it. But now, take his point as given. Do you ask yourself, in other words, how much power have you given this little thing in your pocket, this little cell phone? How much power have you given it over you? How much does it control your life? If you said to me not at all, I don't believe you. I've seen kids for the last 20 years all of a sudden get these cell phones, and now you can't leave house. You can't leave your house without it. Now think about it. When's the last time you left your house without your cell phone? And when's the last time you saved somebody's life with it? There's something about your cell phone you love. That's a lot of power it has over you. That's all he's saying. Be careful what you give power to. Now, having said that, you've given power to your cell phone. At the very least, he's saying, my God, if you're going to give power to airplanes and computers and cell phones, at least treat them with the what? With the care and the respect they deserve. I've seen the way you guys treat your phones and computers. You treat it like shit, the same way we treat airplanes and cars. We smack them around on trees, we don't even check the oil. We just keep expecting our cars and airplanes and phones to run every time you push play. Every time you push something, it better run. One of these days, that phone ain't turning on. I got news for you. What are you gonna do?
We'll give it to one.
Do you see what he's saying? That's what he's talking about. There's something dark about human beings giving up your power to a little box of metal. There's something dark about that. You know? Go.
I feel like you're saying like we don't know how to live life without them. Like if we didn't have it, then we wouldn't know what to do.
I think he knew exactly that people were going to fall in love with technology. And I think at the end, he was saying you better take care of it because if you don't, it's going to turn around and kill you. That same airplane you know the airplane you built that goes like 1,000 miles an hour? It's going to turn around one day because now it's on autopilot and it's going to smash right into your house. And the thing is, it'll be over quickly because it goes 1,000 miles an hour. You see what he's saying? Anyway, can you write me a paragraph about that? Okay.
Possibly, maybe.
Maybe, yes?
You know, we can write the whole poem and solve the things we talked about.
Yes, good point, right. All right, you're good. Tomorrow we'll look at something else. I don't know. Monday we'll look at something else. The red wheelbarrow.